decide to step up to this kind of power, this kind of challenge, this kind of flying, crashing feeling, when you decide to get serious, there's only one place to come: the games of Super Nintendo. No one else creates this kind of experience, because no one else creates these kinds of games. Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Call of Duty Zombie shirt that I got for free.
There you go. Good way to start a show. Swag-tastic. This TalkRadar, what number? Somebody else do it again.
174. Welcome to TalkRadar. That's the number of the thing I said first.
This is 175, I thought.
Fuck! Hey, welcome to TalkRadar 175. I'm your new host, Henry Gilbert.
No.
And we have here...
Chris Antista.
Michael Raparas.
Wasn't trying to set a precedent.
And Brett. 1 week to go, Elston.
Come on, excitement.
Dead man walking.
Brett, short timer, Elston.
Brett, good enough.
Brett's selling out.
Yeah.
Brett Selston.
Naughty boy.
Wow.
I'm willing to not sit in on this cast if you don't need me, Brett. You want to use that?
Oh, come on, Chris.
No,
we all want you
doing
here.
Sound check.
Everybody wants you here, Chris.
Yeah.
Everybody on Twitter, tell Chris how much you love him.
No. Don't need that.
No, yes, he does.
Don't
Everybody.
need that. Somebody in the office is going to have to show me how much they love what we do.
Clap if you believe in Antistas.
Just follow me on Twitter and prepare to donate. Anyway,
Time to get hot.
Anywho.
Oh, yes.
Anywho. Somebody else talk.
Seriously?
There's a lot of stuff to
Know what
talk.
happened?
Boy, what an exciting week here at Games Radar. Well, we've got a top 7.
It's the 20th anniversary of the Super Nintendo, so I got a couple things I want to do with that, including the top 7. Mike Grimm reviewed the 2 big releases this week.
Days X Human Revolution and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online.
And I reviewed the 3rd biggest release this week.
What? Oh, your pretend make-believe game about wizards?
No.
The 3DS remake of a DS game that everybody didn't buy the first time.
Yep. Now they have a
That's
chance to buy it all over again.
For 40?
Yeah. That's $1 per hour of the main storyline.
All right, well, we'll get to that.
That's how I buy games. What's the dollar per hour ratio?
And that's you'll be playing that game 10 times, as long as it'll take you to beat 10 other 3DS games.
Yes, but not if I play it $0. Hours, 0 hours.
What? $0 hours.
So Bayonetta is 12 hours? Dollars.
Dollars. It's $12
It's
now.
$12 and it's 12 hours. So, or is it more like 16? I don't remember.
Well, I think that.
The answer is who cares? And maybe there are probably not game deals, I'm going to guess, but maybe we'll find some between now and then.
Boy, has it been an exciting week.
Well, the site's probably been a bitch to navigate lately because we went through a major...
exciting bitch.
Yes. The site was down on Sunday and Monday, and then the comments have been wonky, I believe is the word we like to use in the video game business.
It's weird. The site was readable all Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
And then today, on Tuesday, the site was actually down quite a lot.
Because we were installing new shit on our back end, which just means our butts. We put things in our butts, and now it broke the site. No, it just means it's shit that you don't see, but there actually were improvements.
So are the things in our butts.
Yeah, you can feel them though.
But yeah, one of my favorite improvements is directly replying to a comment.
You can now reply directly to comments. You can they have screenshot galleries that we can embed in an article. We couldn't do that before.
They look so pretty.
Yeah, so there are things actually that will affect you, but in the meantime, rolling out something that huge and changing our entire back end of how we input stuff on the site has just basically like if the site was just wasted and just drunk and didn't understand what it was supposed to be doing anymore.
What?
I was pretty excited that it auto-bans anybody that makes a Halo Reach 8 joke now.
Oh, cool. So this was better than Reach.
But yes.
We'll talk about what's better than Reach later.
Yeah. But also thanks to everybody who played in the 24-hour marathon. That actually went really well. And
Yeah.
whoever stuck around for the stream and bothered to watch through the wee hours of... and then the deadening of MMA and.
During the MMA section, I farted really loud. That was the most exciting part
I
of
hope
the
it was
MMA.
in here with the door closed.
Nah, the door was open, of course.
But it was in here.
Yes, it was.
I'm so glad Justin TV saved a record of that. Now I'm going to find it.
I was sitting in this very chair, and I was just saying, it was me by myself, and I was just saying, now, EA MMA is a lot better game than you think it is, and then, no, it was a long one. It was like,
Even your butt finds that statement hilarious.
yeah.
But thanks to that. And then also this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, obviously, is PAX. We'll be at PAX Prime. So
Not me.
Not you, buddy. But the general, we'll have 2 meetups. Saturday, this Saturday. First one is around 11:30 to 3 p.m., 11:30 a.m., 3 p.m. It's on the site. It's a Skyrim themed. It's a food truck that'll be giving away Skyrim hats with the horns that the dude is wearing and all those.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
So Skyrim hats that like fully cover your face, and as well as like we'll be there for around 2 or something to like meet. I think we're gonna do a podcast there. And then the second meetup is that night. We're probably gonna do what we did last year, and Sega has a GameWorks party. Sega has a GameWorks party, and well, you can. It's open to the public, and it serves booze. So, like, if you're under 21, you can get in. If you're over 21, there's booze, and that's a great mix. It's hard to get anywhere else. Like, if we go anywhere else, under 18 would have a hard time getting in. Under 21 would have a hard time getting in, much less under fucking 18. So, it's the best. The downside is that party fills up super fast, and you'll probably literally want to stand in line. Like,
But that was the recipe for magic at last.
yeah, it
year's
worked great last
podcast.
time. The thing that sucked was a lot of people who maybe showed up late didn't get in. Even Dan Emmerich was having trouble getting in the door because he got there at like 10 o'clock, and it's like there's a fire marshal there counting the number of people going in and out of that building.
Oh, wow.
That's how fast it fills up. So we will get there. We will get there early, and we will get in. I know we'll get in because Sega will let us in, but
I'm sorry. From where I'm sitting, I see the two of you wearing the same shirt.
Dude,
It's
bro.
like you're on the same show.
Resurrection, Black Ops.
Get ready, DLC, son.
First time I played it was Friday.
Yeah.
Suck ass at it. I got
Boy,
one kill
yeah.
streak. I didn't even know how to trigger it.
If there's one thing that the 24-hour marathon always reinforces, it's that I'm not really good at a lot of popular games.
Yeah, not a lot of us are.
That's why
Especially not against kids who've been prestiging back and forth.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was really happy with my Street Fighter performance, though. I was very happy.
I felt bad afterwards because like people were saying like, "Hey, remember my gamer tag? We should play online all the time." I was like, I think I'll play online next year, and then that's the next time I'll be
That
playing
is
games online.
probably the next time.
Well,
We'll play
I
online.
might play Horde 2.0. I love Horde
Shit,
so
Horde
much.
2.0 is great. I love it. But
It's as good as
mode.
Tosh.0.
but back to the PAX.
He has
thing.
3 million followers. Can you believe it? I mean, he's funny, but like, God damn.
Back to PAX. Saturday.
What about Tosh Boyd up?
Yes, I really care. So back to just Saturday. If you want to go, we'll meet up. We'll drink. We'll have a good time. Last year was a blast. If you're going to PAX and happen to hear this before you get there, like that's where we're going to do it, unless something changes. And then in that case, check Twitter or check the forums. I dare you. And there's a thread about where to go. So that even the Sega thing goes to midnight. So we'll have to mobilize somewhere else to keep drinking, but it'll be fun. I don't know that we're going to do a podcast there. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But it's just meet up, drink. There's games there if you want to play them. But if not, we just shot the shit for like 4 or 5 hours and just drank, and it was awesome.
You can all hug Brett one last time
The
before he
last
goes to
time.
Capcom.
But yeah, that's the more you can come out, the better. It was super fun last time. PAX East was a blast. It's super fucking fun. So, but to get in the Sega thing, you literally will have to get there right at 6 o'clock. And just stay, and then we'll stay. And once you're in, you're good. But
Do you think the East Coast will be recovered from the earthquake?
oh
by
god,
next
I
week?
only hope so. I get the point of like they don't get it that often. They wanted to react. That's fine to an earthquake, and everyone on the West Coast wants to wave their fucking earthquake flags.
I have one of those.
But at the same time, I'm like, this is how I feel when you guys talk about weather. You're like, man, it is coming down. If I'm not in the basement with the tornado siren going and the stove unhooked from the wall with pillows on my head and a motorcycle helmet on, it's not a storm. That's rain.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We should maybe move on to the top 7.
I dare you. Number 7.
Numbers.
The top 7 this week.
Really? Number 7.
Number 7.
Did we say what the top 7 is?
I'll just from the entries, people can infer
That's true.
what the top
I like
7
it.
is. Top 7 this week is celebrating 20th anniversary of the Super NES. Top 7 reasons the Super NES is Nintendo's best console. And I don't.
You stressed a lot over this top 7.
I
which is
really
what the subject should be.
I agonized over this a lot because first I wanted it to be the top 7 Super NES games, period. And then
that was basically impossible.
even the idea of trying to limit it to 7. Getting number 1, 2, and 3 wasn't hard because you're always going to shuffle between the same 3 fucking games for Super Nintendo. But 4, 5, 6, 7 is like so contested, and then whatever made number 8 is still probably one of the best games ever made. So it's still just no matter what we did, I could not be satisfied with the list. That's what we're doing on
The thing
this
is-
Friday. You'll see the
Yeah.
difference. We're going to do a 25 best.
Even like the worst Super Nintendo games are still probably among the best ever made.
That's not true.
American Gladiators is dog shit.
There's
Oh, that's true. Okay,
there's
yeah,
a heaping
alright,
amount of shit on the system, but it has more legacy games, I think, than many other systems do.
But it's at least the best Nintendo system.
Yeah,
if
at the
not
very least,
best
because for a
system.
while I was wanting to do why it's the best console, period. But I couldn't find enough like genuine, serious arguments for that. I could write one why I think so, but I really wanted to try to be as defensible as possible, and I really couldn't argue like if someone wanted to know what's a video game. In 2011, they'd never owned a console before. I probably wouldn't point them to a Super Nintendo because it's not going to do them any good.
Yeah.
Like if they I want to know what games are all about right now. Like that doesn't really hold up.
Yeah,
like
so
the games
to-
are all still fun, but they'd be 20 years behind everything.
I'd give them a 360 or say log
Yeah, I'd give
into,
them
or log into Facebook. And
Yes. But as far as Nintendo's consoles, I think even that is a contentious thing to argue about because plenty of people would consider usually whatever the first one they got is the best. But even though the NES was mine, I still think the Super Nintendo is better.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because
well,
of the following reasons. Number 7, which we already had the sound effect. But we could do it again. Or not. Christopher? Hi.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on over there? Having troubles?
No, just doing stuff.
Number 7, it had the best Nintendo launch day. And I think that's pretty easily defensible.
Yeah.
Well, what about Luigi's Mansion?
What about it, Henry?
Yes.
a good
I like Luigi's
It's a good
Mansion.
game.
It's a good game, but it's not a system-selling game. Ooh. Yoshi, that'll come up
I
later.
like that, yeah.
But no, like, my big thing with this was the 3DS was a terrible launch. We don't have to argue about that. We did get... It sold a shitload, but like when you look at that launch, everyone was there for Zelda. Wii Sports came packed in. Everything else was incidental.
The Wii Sports was a big deal.
It was a big deal, but it was
seller to
free.
many people.
Yeah. But it was free. Well, they bought it on the idea in the commercials. Like, it sold through the roof. And I mean, Nintendo gained steam through that, but
I
like...
want to play tennis with my grandkids.
Yeah, but the thing is that Wii Sports was not a mind-blowingly awesome cutting edge game like some of the Super Nintendo stuff.
Right. And then the GameCube, N64, Mario 64, one of the best games ever. I still love it. And it redefined a lot of shit, like legitimately changed games, period. But, why are you shaking your head?
Someone farted.
Oh, well, that's true.
God.
I noticed that.
It was not me.
In this room? Come on.
But N64 only had Mario 64 and then Pilot Wings for like a month. For a literal month, there was 2 games. The third game, Wave Race. The fourth game, like I know the first 10 games released for that system because that's how slow they came out. It was the next year.
You were counting the days.
Like Mario Kart 64, which was in February, is like game 17 or something, or like game 16 or something. Like it, like that's how slow it was. But the Super Nintendo packed in Mario World. What fucking amazing, really long, meaty, huge game for free inside the box. Pilot Wings, the original. Mode 7 showcase that just showed off the technology, but also is still, to me, a fun flight sim, silly, like not super technical, but like just, it got a lot of those ideas across. Like, you couldn't do that on NES, and the Genesis couldn't do a similar thing, so getting that experience at home, it was a tech demo that was fun. F-Zero, exact same thing, a racing game that had just this screaming sense of speed that no other like console game at the time
yeah, it was
doing.
amazing to look
And then
at.
shit like Gradius 3, SimCity, Super R-Type, those are all great.
Yes.
All fantastic games. And then, like I said, if you stretch that into the launch window like everybody wants to do, you throw in shit like Final Fantasy 2, Super Castlevania 4, fucking Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Final Fight, Actor... Jesus!
What the hell was that?
That was Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yeah, I know what it was. I'm just wondering
At
why.
1 million decibels. You got to finish the note. I'm gonna. Thank you.
It is. It's funny. I was just visiting my sister the other week, and
That is
she was.
funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious actually. But she brought up that she remembered, like, I remember when you had the Super Nintendo and you'd just like sit there playing Super Mario World, and you'd be like, "Oh, this is incredible! Oh my God, it's like it's real." But the thing is that it's kind of hard to understand just how awesome the Super Nintendo's games looked.
Yeah.
Because you have to think you're coming from like fucking black backgrounds with chunky sprites on the NES, and it's like this has all these colors,
and even the Genesis, which has a lot of games that still look good.
Comic
didn't
Zone.
look this good.
Yeah, it has a significantly reduced palette. Like a Genesis game can only display, I think, 64 colors on a screen at one time, out of a palette of like 500 something.
Such a graphics horror.
A color.
No,
horror.
you can definitely tell the color difference.
But Super Nintendo had a palette of, I think, 32,000 colors and could show 256 of them on a screen at one time. So, like, just
that number sounds right.
the number, like, just the graphics could
That sounds
be.
like a commercial. I saw it.
Well, I had it burned into my brain, so. But no, just at that launch, like, no Nintendo launch was ever that strong. Like, the GBA launch was good, but one, that's a handheld and does not count in this instance. And two, I really like Mario 2 again, and a Castlevania game that would end up being completely replaced by the two.
Well, and also that was indivisible when you bought it. Like, you couldn't see
I would argue the GBA is probably the second best launch.
It was a good launch. I was very pleased.
All right,
with it.
wait a sec, guys.
No.
Need I remind you?
I know what you're gonna say.
All right,
Smash
but
Brothers,
seriously,
GameCube had Smash Brothers.
no,
and Pac-Man.
actually, I was going to say GameCube, Game Boy, Game
Had
Boy,
Tetris, Super Mario Land, and tennis.
All right,
That's kind of it, man.
Tetris though. Come on, Tetris.
Yes, that's one game. Mario 64 was a great one game.
All right, fine. Then
Number
I
6.
actually was going to say GameCube because that's the more defensible thing.
It was not a bad launch.
I remember that we went and got my GameCube, and then we went to go get Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and there was one copy left. And
Melee.
Yes, it's Melee. And we muscled a child out of the way to get into the rack to get it.
I was so
We will
excited.
enjoy this more than you. You were just going to smash buttons.
Yeah, I
We
was
are going
so,
to.
We're going to smash buttons with a spirit of nostalgia.
Yes. You don't appreciate these characters. What connection do you have to Kirby?
Well, also Pikmin as well.
It's
and-
like, but I like Pikachu. Fuck you, kid. I remember when Melee came
Farted
out.
in his face.
Not Melee, but when the original Smash Brothers for N64 came out, I was a little irritated that Pikachu was in it because I'm like, the fuck this?
Yeah, he wasn't
This
quite
new
legitimate
guy?
yet.
I was like, this
Yeah.
franchise just fucking started. What is this? You can't put it in with Link and fucking Samus and Mario and what are you doing?
Like, this isn't even a real Nintendo thing. This is a
Yeah.
fucking trading card game that has
How
the
do you
video
know this is
game
gonna
tie-in.
last? It's like, whoops, it'll outsell all of them.
As your Toys R Us Fest is weighted down heavily with trainer badges.
Hey, I did not earn those badges. They were sent to me in a gross bag. Number 6, top 7 reasons Super Nintendo is the best. Number 6. Ooh.
Nice.
Number
Thank
6.
you.
It was an
Pretty appropriate.
kind of appropriate. It was an RPG haven. Without getting into it too much here, basically, this Chrono Trigger. This basically boils down to the entire notion of what is a good JRPG came from this era, and all the games, tons of remakes, demakes, fan games. All of them aspire to be this shit that was started here. Like, you think of Super Nintendo, and even when you get to, like, what are the 10 best games? Like, it's hard not to have that top 10 be all RPGs. At a time when Final Fantasy VII wasn't even out yet. Like, and it keeps getting all the credit for, like, man, it wasn't successful till this. No, Super Nintendo knocked that shit out of the park over and over and over again. And then
Admittedly-
because Final Fantasy VII had a cool commercial,
Yeah.
millions
It
more
didn't
saw
trick
it.
people with cutscenes.
Yeah. And so not that 7's a bad game, but it's just like there's a reason why it was more marketable than Final Fantasy 4 or 6 or any other, like Chrono Trigger, Paladin's Quest, Lufia, Earthbound, Mario RPG, Illusion of Gaia, Secret of Mana. All
Seven Saga.
Seven Saga's good. I like it.
Also,
it's kind of junky, and I get it. but-
Also, I'd like to add to that. I've now since played Dragon Quest 5 and 6, and especially Dragon Quest 5. Like, if it had come out in America, it would be like in 92 or 93 even, like, it would have blown everyone away. Like, with the stuff it does, like...
That's cool.
Man, yeah. It was way ahead of its time.
I should probably play that one.
It's only $20 on DS right now on Amazon.
Nintendo send me one, Henry. I don't know.
All right, shut up.
This conversation is making me nostalgic for when Japan was relevant to gaming.
Yeah.
That also is why this was an RPG haven. Is kind of a bad sign for RPGs. It's like, they weren't ever better than 20 years ago.
They didn't really, like, PS1 era got a few great
good
ones.
Yeah, even great
but like
ones,
it never got past this point where like it became a thing to like, oh, did you play there's a big new RPG coming out, and people would actually be interested in it. And Grim, could you tell me about Earthbound for just a little bit? Because I want to hear you just go.
Well, there's this game, this beautiful game. Yeah, it's just a really good JRPG.
What it's about? Well, instead of like fighting instead of fighting fantasies, dragony stuff, you're just a dude in real life.
Yeah, you're a little boy
hitting hippies with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I mean, you are hitting people, but they're possessed by the spirit of evil.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, that game, I can talk about the story or whatever, but I mean, it was just such a weird game.
Talk about the whatever.
The whatever is really what makes that game great. Just the color palette, the style, the music, and everything. It just came together in a really weird way that really didn't feel like anything else.
I like that the hit points were a speedometer.
Yes, they were. You could actually take critical damage and die, but if you got yourself a healing item before the roller was done rolling all your health down,
nice.
You'd get health from that point on.
But we will never get another Mother game.
Nope, we never will. They will never import Mother 3, and I will bear that burden for the rest of my days.
I think Nintendo is really desperate to prove they prove something to hardcore
Nintendo
people.
of America to just go, you know what, Xenoblade Chronicles is coming out. And the reviews are coming out for it from the Europe version. It's like, this is a fantastic game.
Edge gave it a 9.
That fixed JRPGs kind of situation.
It's hard to not announce something at that.
But like games like Bastion, Half Minute Hero, Cthulhu Saves the World, so many modern things pull.
Barkley, shut up and Jam Guide.
Yes, pull from the notion of what is a good RPG. Well, that shit. Mm-hmm. Anyway, number 5, top 7.
Number 5.
This one's a weird. This is one of the weird ones. The Superior Sony Sound Chip, which. The whole Super Nintendo Sony relationship is what eventually led to the PlayStation in the first place. I don't want to get into all that because it's not really relevant to this conversation. But inside of the Super Nintendo was this chip designed by Ken Kutaragi,
the Ken Kutaragi,
who would become the father of the PlayStation. He made this, not him personally,
the
but like
dour Ken Kutaragi.
Yes, he was instrumental and had a direct relationship with that sound chip.
So did he also have anything to do with the design of Hook for the Super Nintendo?
I don't know. From Sony ImageSoft?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what ImageSoft's relationship was with the rest of Sony. I don't know. But Hook wasn't a terrible game.
I heard it was.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
You probably are.
I have to be.
But yeah, when you compare the sound on
the sound, like
to
that sound
Genesis,
chip. Well, Genesis gets a lot of shit, but when harnessed correctly, like in Streets of Rage or Phantasy Star, Genesis can do. See, listen to this. Oh, sweet music. That is Genesis, that is so fucking Genesis.
Tommy Tallarico hand-glued every guitar riff into every Genesis cartridge.
Whereas the Super Nintendo, I really have this notion in my mind of, now that they were unrestricted by... There were still restrictions because of cartridge space, but, their music didn't have to sound like video game music as much. So that's why when you get to Super Nintendo, you get a lot of stuff that actually have, proper bass lines and orchestra and strings and things, and they're all synthesized instruments, but they sound way better. It doesn't sound like a MIDI. It doesn't sound like chiptunes. It's specifically a Super Nintendo sound, and I can identify it the moment I hear it. Mm-hmm. I can still tell Genesis when I hear it too, but it's it's a unique sound that at the time was demonstrably and irrefutably ahead of any other console that was competing with it.
When it perfected that chiptune sound, and after that, they kind of just moved on to
CD
orchestral music. CD music or whatever Nintendo shoved on an N64 card.
Yeah, the N64 had some good soundtracks, but the Super Nintendo was the last time you had cartridge-based soundtracks that were just phenomenal, and it's not just the big tier games. All the Square RPGs, of course, have great soundtracks, and Chrono Trigger, all the Final Fantasies, but just about. Definitely not everything, because there's bad Super Nintendo music like there is for any system, but
American Gladiator.
That it is shitty. I fucking have that game and it's terrible. The
I have it
NES
too.
version surprisingly good.
Oh, NES. Okay.
Yeah,
Really?
the regular NES one is it's actually not bad.
Any game where the menu music loops with no break directly into the gameplay
Yes.
and then just continues playing is
It's just like
unforgivable.
it's like they had one track and just like play indefinitely.
But also Mario World and Yoshi's
All that
Island,
shit.
like
Yoshi's Island is great. Like
Mario Kart.
racing games, fucking sim games, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Like so many games have good music that I would just legitimately listen to. It's good stuff. So that's and. The reason why I think that's relevant today is that so many of those soundtracks persisted, and not only on Overclocked Remix, but just it's a consciousness thing that an entire generation has, that they know this song from Final Fantasy, or they recognize this Chrono Trigger music, or if they don't acknowledge, if they don't know it by heart, they still acknowledge like, oh yeah, I remember playing it and thinking, wow, the music was good or something. Like it affected you in a way. At a time, even back then, when Americans were not thinking about game music, like it was still out of it. Obviously, it hit me more. But I still feel like most people were like, wow, this is noticeably better than hearing that screeching noise coming out of my Genesis. and on a lesser extent, helped make voices, like in Street Fighter, when they said Hadouken or Sonic Boom, it didn't. The Genesis is just terrible. It's this squeaking, fucking shrill. Number 4. Top 7.
Number 4.
Super NES. Chris, do you want to chime in on any of this? Super Nintendo?
Yeah,
Super Nintendo. The gimmicks were put to good use, and this was another hard one to really express in a proper rotten way. But if I verbalize it, it's a little easier. Just that every time they introduced a new trick, like Sega tried to pull off blast processing as a thing, and it was fake. It was just, no, you just have a faster processor, and you can do that stuff easier than a Super Nintendo could. Super Nintendo is notorious for slowdown and that, but you could get around it. It was harder. Super Nintendo, usually via Nintendo itself, Mode 7 was a thing built into the hardware, that whole flat look that makes things scale and rotate interesting look. F-Zero does it, Pilot Wings does it. They were launched
Bowser does it in Mario World.
Mario World, like anything that were like the thing, whoa, it's coming at the screen, that was Mode 7, or anything that were like Mario Kart, the original, is also all Mode 7. I agree that it makes things look very weird when you get close to them because it's completely flat, like there's no depth to anything. But like in a racing game when you're just screaming past stuff, it looks amazing. And in a flight game where you're not really, it's just a sprite of an airplane or a sprite of a parachuting guy, it works great there too. And that was 2 launch games that were basically tech demos that became franchises, became successful franchises. Based off what anyone else would have just shit out of games like, hey, Mode 7, derp, and just like, doesn't it look?
Yeah, that's what you'd see now, I think.
Yeah, well, that's same thing with. I feel that's what happened with Wii. Like, and today a lot like Kinect, same thing. They
motion waggle,
motion, do this, and they pack in one game that kind of uses it okay, but then no one else ever does anything with it.
Anything new with it. They all do the same thing.
Nintendo did creative stuff with Mode 7 for many games, and then third parties would use it, and it wasn't like, well, if you don't have it, you're locked out of it forever. It's, it's built into the hardware, and it's only on Super Nintendo.
And even the ones that just used to, like, we're going to just rotate this boss around and make him big. It's like, that looked cool.
It looks cool. And then Star Fox, the FX chip, like, that birthed an entire franchise as well. And
Uniracers.
Uniracers was Rare's ACM modeling.
Oh.
Stunt Race FX.
Stunt Race
That's
FX.
what I'm thinking.
FX Fighter, which never came out over here.
Yeah.
Well, it never came out for the Super Nintendo. It came out for PC and was awful.
It sounds awful.
Interesting you brought up blast processing, though, because I remember Sega would always push that with the slogan, welcome to the next level.
Yeah.
And then the first commercials for Star Fox were like, why go to the next level when you can go light years beyond?
Yeah. I'll get to some
I never even got that.
I'll get to that in the next segment because there's a lot of tit for tat going on there. But the FX2 chip made Yoshi's Island look the way it does. And made the bosses like morph and change and do all this cool shit.
I know. It was cool to see it. That's what Yoshi's Island like took a much different advantage of the FX chip than Star Fox did. Like Star Fox was just like, let's make polygons. And they were good polygons, but like Yoshi's Island, which is like to me the pinnacle of 2D platforming, like has technically like a bunch of polygon. Like can make polygons.
It's a bunch of weird shit going on that doesn't, but because it's Nintendo doing it properly and taking 4 years to make a new game. It's all done so subtly that it creates this fantastic game. But the point is that like every time they did something new, it resulted in a game that wasn't shit out. to just show off a new technology, and then it was forgotten. They either it started a franchise and they kept all the ideas that they started and expanded on all of them, or it was just a fun one-off that was legitimately fun and not in a, yeah, it was fun. It's like, no, I'll play Pilot Wings forever, and I'll play F-Zero forever. Those games are fantastic. And Star Fox, the weird thing about Star Fox is, yes, those 3D polygons look garbage today because they're literally just triangles and squares. And they're not shaded, they're solid colors, and it looks really weird. But if you found a way to play it on your computer via some other means, it runs so much smoother because the emulators can take better advantage of the guts. So like, well, if you play the Super NES cart, it's kind of slow and it's not as smooth as it should be. But the emulator version is so crystal clear. And I was playing it the other day to take screens for this, and I'm like, wow, this is so fucking smooth. Why did I ever think this was choppy? And wait a minute, that's not how it really is. Number 3, Chris left the room.
Maybe it's this one.
It'll just be a number 3, I think.
Okay.
And open the door while you're... I'll do that. Number 3! Number 3! Oh, Henry's got... And Henry, you helped me think of this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself for thinking of this entry.
Number 3 is Nintendo perfected its formula in this time period because...
Is there a closed parentheses?
Yeah, I don't know. Henry? Looks like there's a closed parentheses there.
Oh.
I was seeing messing that. You know what? I can fix it. It can be fixed like right now, okay? Like
I broke it. Wow, I zoomed in so much it broke the site.
I can fix it so fast. But anyway...
yeah, Nintendo...
Back to something I was proud of.
Yeah. Nintendo perfected its craft. In this, and the idea here is that every one of the games, all its major franchises, this is where they all hit their peak. Like
they were never better.
Yes, every game had every series had a defining moment, and that's even true for like third-party games. Because if you get stuff like Contra 3, that's kind of the best Contra game ever. And Castlevania 4, which I know it has some issues, but like as far as 2D Castlevania games go that aren't Metroidvania games, I think it's fucking fantastic.
Prior to Symphony of the Night, it was. I think it's still one of the best games.
I still really like
the console.
Well, and many Final Fantasy fans would say Final Fantasy VI is the best it ever was.
Yeah, and all this happened like
because it's fun.
Super Metroid, Super Punch Out, like even. Anytime there was a franchise that showed up on Super Nintendo, it was probably the best version of it at the time, and remains the best 2D version of it, if not the best version.
Yeah, because especially when Nintendo franchises, they all had to go to 3D in the N64 and for Metroid, GameCube thing, and they were good, but they didn't, and they at their best, really captured what was great about those 2D versions, but they never replaced the 2D versions.
No, they never supplanted them as there's no reason to play Super Metroid because we have Metroid Prime. There's no reason to play Link to the Past because we have Ocarina. It's like, no, those are still absolutely essential games that are just as fun now as they were, and they were built to last.
And even when Nintendo keeps, tries to return to 2D, like with New Super Mario Brothers, it's fun, but it's not on the level of Mario World.
Yep.
You know.
And number 2.
Oh, really?
I was just going to say, built to last in more ways than one, and that the cartridges were also extremely durable.
Yeah, they are.
Remember all those letters to Nintendo Power about, this Game Boy got blown up in Desert Storm, and it still works.
That Game Boy, I saw that legendary Game Boy at their New York store. It's completely destroyed by a fucking bomb or something.
But I remember, what was one my brother flushed these Game Boy cartridges, and the plumber poured lye down there to try and dissolve them, and we pulled them out, and the labels were gone, but they played great.
Yes, they will be in a landfill forever. Do you have anything else you want to add to that, Henry?
Nah, that's it.
All right. But just
Number 2.
The controller. And basically, here is...
That's my controller.
That is your controller, because I don't have a legit Super Nintendo controller anymore. But they took the NES controller, which was the best D-pad. D-pad, it wasn't the first D-pad, because that was Game & Watch, but... the D-pad made games playing at home so much better.
Yeah, no,
that's a design that is still here today. Is a fucking D-pad.
Because it was perfect. You can't go.
You can't improve on that. You can make it better, softer, more readable.
Thank you, Gunpei Yokoi, for inventing that shit.
Yep. And Metroid,
and Game & Watches, and Game Boy,
and the Virtual Board,
and also the Wonder Swan. Yeah.
Yes.
But the point is, the Super Nintendo controller took the NES controller and basically made it look like crap.
Yep. I mean, they added rounded edges instead of this hard rectangle, so it was easier to hold. Shoulder buttons, which was like your hand just naturally fit, and your fingers were like, there should be buttons here. It just felt like that's where they needed to go.
Well, it was crazy.
And 4 face buttons, and then if you look, I put an image in there that just goes down all these controllers. The fucking 4 face button and shoulder buttons thing has been...
Well, in a cross, too.
Has been adopted, and a D-pad cross of some kind has been copied. The PlayStation stole it. Xbox stole it. PS3 kept doing it. They added analog sticks, Dreamcast 4 face buttons, even the Wii
Jaguar.
Classic. Jaguar, no.
Jaguar copied the Genesis and then added a fucking
phone pad.
Yeah, from the Atari 5200.
And then even Nintendo's classic controller is, other than basically being a DualShock controller with no rumble, was more or less a Super Nintendo controller. Well, that's what a PlayStation controller is. It's a Super Nintendo controller with 2 analog sticks and 2 extra shoulder buttons.
Well,
but like the idea of it is, it all started with that, and yet Nintendo's the only company that left that behind. Every controller since then, N64, GameCube, and Wii, have been
especially not the Wii,
have been designed around like one game or one idea. And then when that game comes out, it's like, wow, Mario 64 works great with this. These C buttons run the camera. This analog stick, all I need is A button to jump and that Z trigger right on my finger. What the fuck is this D-pad doing over here? Why does this look like a trident? And then as the years go on, you're like, this sucks for every other game. Like, you can't put a fighting game on that.
It worked pretty well for WWF No Mercy.
Yeah. It's just like those tiny C buttons. It's like, and you don't think this shit's confusing to people? Like, every time you'd hand that controller to someone, they're like, what? And if they didn't play games, like in high school, trying to get people, like, they'd want to play GoldenEye because they kept hearing about it, and they just, like, hold it wrong, and then, no, put your hand on the middle one, not where your hands have been going the whole time where the D-pad is, or they'd hold it like the D-pad and reach their thumb all the way over to that analog stick. And it's just so fun. And then the GameCube is just the most bizarre thing that has ever
green button
that has ever happened. Like, it's comfortable to hold. I love how it feels, and I love the triggers. But then with the face buttons, you're like, how in the world did you think this was a good idea?
It makes no sense, and that's the only system where I could never get used to the button prompts and what the hell buttons they connected to.
It's like, hit X. Which one is that? I know A is the big green one.
And hit this one that looks like a banana. It's like there are like 3 of those. Which one?
And it never looked more like a toy and more like a preschool device than every one of them's color coded in a different shade.
And the console is a big purple lunchbox.
And you turn it on and makes a baby noise.
Well, so now they've gone. The Wii U does have those 4 buttons. It brings back the 4
it's back
cross
to that.
buttons.
And so did the DS. Which if I was
3DS,
if I was going to get some modern equivalent to the Super Nintendo, it would be the DS.
That should have been the Game Boy, but it didn't have 4 buttons.
Game Boy Advance, I was like, so you're going to make a Super Nintendo Portable, which should be my favorite thing that ever existed, and you took away 2 of the buttons. So from day one, GBA was like, had a grudge against.
Because it was like when I played, Mario World remake on GBA, like, do the spin jump. No. Oh, hold down R and then press B. Like, no.
It's like, why didn't you just put 2 goddamn buttons on it? Number 1, let's do this.
Number 1.
Wow, that's a lot of spit. The best third-party support, and I mean,
you could argue that the PlayStation 1 had very good third-party support as well.
I'm talking about this is about Nintendo systems. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
No, PS1 had like the best, and then PS2 improved on that even more. Like PS1 and 2 were just.
When the NES had
outrageous.
Good third-party support, because Nintendo also like controlled them with an iron fist.
Well, and that's part of why. And then they kept that practice going into the Super Nintendo. They
still had the Genesis like biting at their heels.
No, yeah. It was definitely 50-50 in the U.S. for a long time, and Super Nintendo ultimately sold more than Genesis. But for several years, it was just neck and neck, and Sega was really making strides. Whereas in the UK, my understanding was the Mega Drive was always more popular than Nintendo anything.
Yeah.
And neither the NES nor the SNES ever really dominated the way they did in the US, where we just ate that shit up.
Yeah.
Which is why you're going to get people like me telling you why the Super Nintendo is the best console.
And why people like Justin Tao will love Sonic.
Yeah, and I get it.
This isn't an Amstrad.
Well, meanwhile, in Japan, it was the opposite. Like, the Genesis never really took off there.
But, like, the basic bit here is, like, Nintendo had the best from every company at the time. Since then, there's been a caveat every time you talk about a fucking Nintendo platform. for the N64, it was like, yeah, it's the same PlayStation one, only it doesn't have cutscenes, or it's the same game, but it just doesn't have the CD soundtrack. They made some other stuff that's in there.
Tony Hawk was the absolute worst.
Yes.
Hey, do you want those awesome skate footage videos of these rad skaters? Well, we don't have that, but here's the models doing tricks in a stasis.
Jesus Christ.
A void. It's really cool.
Oh, I remember that.
It's and but like all the tracks were 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
No room for music. No.
And even then, they're tinny and compressed as hell, and you can tell, So, and then on GameCube, it was just, the support dried up so fast.
Almost immediately.
At first, everyone was like, okay, Nintendo disk system, games are going to be $50 instead of $60, $70, $80 fucking dollars for those cartridges. It's going to be back to normal, even playing field. All right, Nintendo, we'll bite this time. You fuckers tricked us again. And they immediately dried up, and everyone left that system. And even Capcom tried to support that shit to the end, and it just
they did their best.
They did their best, but even Resident Evil 4 launching exclusively on that's like, guys, we have to sell 3 million copies of this thing to break even. And
let's just put it on the
we're
PS2.
taking it to PS2.
And they did, and then it sold even more.
And then they put it on every system.
Then they put it on everything, which is fine. But Beautiful Joe, same thing. But and then Wii, it's like, well, it's pretty for a Wii game, or it's not such a bad. I
know I'm telling you to play a Wii game, but it's good.
The whole time I'm saying, no, you should play Prime 3, you should play Dead Space Extraction, you should play Muramasa. It's the whole time it's like, if any of these were on 360, you'd play them tomorrow.
Yeah, when I sold my Wii, usually when I sell my system, there's a little twinge of oh man, that's a bummer. Remember all those good times? Even the 64 with the Wii, it was just, I put it on Craigslist, some family came together, and I was like, yep, comes with Twilight Princess, Trauma Center, Under the Knife, Wii Sports, and No More Heroes. I don't know what any of those are. Does it come with Wii Sports? Yes. You said that. Get here. Go.
Get out of my house.
And
then when you dance up the stairs with the $200.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you said Trauma Center, Under the Knife, I heard Under the Knife, Wii Sports, and I just imagined the colon after Under the Knife.
After a Wii Sports injury.
But so, the Super Nintendo was the last console that was just, every company that matters is making its best games for this system. And it doesn't mean Genesis didn't also have good games, because of course it did. It had tons of great shit.
Yeah. It definitely had an edge with American games.
It was a
Madden
50-50 shit, it was a 50-50 split, they got a good country game, well, so did Super Nintendo. They got a different one. They got a good Castlevania game, they got a great one. It's a different one. Plus all these fucking exclusives that are all amazing. The Genesis only has so many great exclusive games. The Super Nintendo one, I could run out of breath going through all of them. And
just think of Squaresoft
Square alone. Which that shows you how powerful Square used to be.
Yeah.
And, just how influential JRPGs in general used to be, because Square left Nintendo, went to PlayStation, made Final Fantasy VII. That got PlayStation in more houses right away, because the PlayStation had been around for 2 years at that time and was doing all right. But the N64 had already was doing super as well because of Mario 64, Mario Kart. They knew Zelda was on the way. All this shit was doing really well. But it was Final Fantasy VII. Square defected, had a CD, made this very visually appealing game that could be advertised very easily on primetime television, and go, holy shit, games look like that now?
No, they don't.
Yeah, no, they don't. They actually look much, much worse than that, and in a way worse than the last system you had. But whatever. Enjoy your triangles, people. So there you go. That's the top 7. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah. So when we come back, I'll talk some more about the Super Nintendo, everybody.
Yay.
Chris, do you have anything you want to add? Anything?
It's a good system.
It is.
It's a good system.
Yeah.
We'll also have reviews to talk about.
Do you have any personal memories of Super Nintendo, Chris? Great games?
Not yet. Give me a break.
All righty.
Give me a break. He sure deserves it. Give him a break.
Hi, this is Ryan McCaffrey from the official Xbox magazine's KOXM Radio. You're listening to TalkRadar.
In the ring, out of the ring, out of control!
WWF Royal Rumble on Super NES 16 Meg Mayhem!
This guy's rocking!
It's perfect. With more WWF superstars than ever before!
Unbelievable 6 men in the ring at once!
No holds barred, anything goes action!
It's a slugfest!
That's perfect. Each wrestler's specialty move!
Complete mayhem!
The Tombstone Pile
It's out of control!
The Bonsai Trap!
Total chaos!
The Perfect Plex.
Oh, did you see that?
WWF Royal Rumble on Super NES!
Get it now!
Perfect.
I'd buy that for $1.
TalkRadar, available in the iPhone App Store. Never.
And it's like, what?
Hello. That hoe ass shit, man. This some hoe ass shit, man. This old hoe ass shit, man.
Whistles go woo woo.
What's up?
We're in, right?
Yeah, we're in.
TalkRadar 170, but I don't. No, I didn't even catch the tail end of that.
Yeah, that bomb never beat.
Wow.
That's my favorite.
Hold on, I want to do some game deals. Elson's taking control of my computer.
Hey, you told me to sit over here.
So wait, is
I
the sequence started?
Yeah, it started. Who gives a shit?
Okay.
Justifying it.
Yeah, let me scoot over for you.
You sure?
Yeah.
I want to breathe right in your face.
Please do not.
Hooray for consistency. Here's the stuff I tab browse. Uncharted 1 is $15 at Amazon. Amazon also has the Wii console Mario Kart bundle for $129, and Kmart has a $20 coupon for Deus Ex this week, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Hey, that's a deal. That's a game deal.
$10 promo game credit from Amazon.com. Best Buy has discounted all 3DS games, a bunch of 3DS games to $19.99. Resident Evil Mercenaries, Outer Live Dimensions, Ghost Recon, Shadow Wars. I know, right?
Shadow Raws was pretty good.
Shadow Raws. Bulletstorm cheap DLC. Who cares? Ratchet and Clank, a Crack in Time, and a DualShock controller for $39.
There's a huge deal,
right?
That's definitely
That's a good deal. Uncharted 2 for $20 for $35. You can own everything Uncharted that's ever happened Uncharted wise.
That's a good deal for the Ratchet and Clank thing solely because the fucking controllers are $50 each anyway.
Well, also because Crack in Time is a pretty good game.
There's likely to be a Steam deal this weekend too. On digital distribution platform.
Serious Sam
Steam.
stuff. You can close out game deals whenever you want.
Oh shit. You need to do that. It's my responsibility.
Save a little money for a rainy day.
He usually gets a laugh.
Ha ha ha!
It was like a small fart.
I'm the farter.
All right, so bringing us in the second segment, I'm going to talk some more about Super Fuck-Ass Nintendo.
Or the Super Famicom?
Super Famicom, Super Family Computer.
You don't want to... It is... Okay, go ahead.
The bit I was just going to do...
Am I alive? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound good.
Yeah, it's fine. I just wanted to... Basically, I kind of wanted to make fun of one of the poorest aspects of the Super Nintendo's life, which... as we established last time, I'm very fond of that machine and love it to death, and I think there's a lot of stuff that it did very well, and I think in a grander sense that Super Nintendo, to me, was pushing games, which is something Nintendo doesn't generally do, but it was pushing games to be more than they were, in a lower sense than they are today, where you get stuff like Red Dead, or that's trying to get you to care about what's people in it, but like Mega Drive, Genesis games, and NES games, and contemporary games were still very video gamey. The goal was levels, beat a boss, score, time attack, and that was all still very present in Super Nintendo as well. But things like, I don't know,
Metroid.
Things like Super Metroid or Chrono Trigger or any of the
previously mentioned Dragon Quest V.
Dragon Quest, even like the tech stuff, like modes like Star Fox, and like since when does Nintendo lead with tech ever? Like they usually have a capable system, but they usually don't like bring you cutting edge anything. And the Super Nintendo is like one of the few times they did.
I think the power of the console allowed people to open up their brain. And they were making games at that point were based off of gimmicks. And like I thought of a new thing you can do. This guy has a head that explodes.
Yeah.
Look at everything on the Genesis, for example. And Super Nintendo was like, no, you can actually create a franchise if you can draw something properly and create a world.
Yeah, there's a lot of... I don't want to give a Genesis a bunch of shit.
No, I'm not giving Genesis shit, but I do think the Super Nintendo was a culmination of that. Sorry.
I agree. No, I agree.
The culmination of like everything 2D sprite based.
Yeah.
I'd say any system is hard-pressed to beat Genesis when it comes to a system that embraced its time period so well.
Yes,
When it comes to 1993 in America, the Sega Genesis and Skitchin is probably the finest example.
The Dreamcast really embraced 1999.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So the Genesis was like the video game equivalent of a hot pink backwards baseball cap.
Which
worn with a flannel over a t-shirt.
You're wearing stonewashed jorts and you're riding your long skateboard.
You're going to get on TalkRadar quotes for that one, Michael. I
Probably.
I wanted
Take it, Elson. I don't want it.
I wanted more of a. No.
That's right.
Damn it.
Don't forget to watch the computer box.
Thanks, Henry, for that piece of advice. Guess what's loud?
Can I get a Tak Fuji Wow?
Yes. No, it's been replaced with this. Fuck, I have to close it now. All right, we're safe.
Beautiful.
Moving on to the bit about Genesis being a backwards baseball neon hot pink fucking
Hell yeah.
Skateboarding badass
1991
attitude
hat.
in your face.
Fucking elbow pads and shit.
He's proactive.
Yeah.
Drinking Capri Sun.
Dude, he's gonna get some shit done.
He has to go back to his home planet.
Yes, he does.
It's him bouncing back to his home planet. And then he lands with a zap! Alright, so on that note, what was, if anything of the 90s sticks out to me in general, from like beginning, middle, and end, that the whole decade was obsessed with fucking attitude. And I mean,
and also the word attitude.
Yes, like literally the word attitude.
WWF,
Yes,
the attitude era,
yes,
literally.
Or the game Dudes with Attitude.
Yes, that caps WWF attitude to me caps the 90s because like the attitude bit like was gone by 2000, wasn't it? They kind of, or at the very least, it was being phased out.
It wasn't irony that died on 9/11; it was attitude.
Oh, that's one for the ages, Henry. Thank you.
That better be on TalkRadar quotes as well.
Attitude was confused for coolness, but not needing to be out there and up front.
It was a complete
2000s. Like, well, that's what's cool.
If an entire decade could be Poochie the dog, it's the 90s. And
attitude,
and that's
sunglasses.
To me, it starts with Sonic the Hedgehog, who all he did was look at the screen and tap his foot.
What?
Look at all that attitude! It's just like having a person on the screen, and everyone couldn't believe their minds that someone displayed any emotion.
And then Bubsy took it one step further by banging on the screen.
Well, because as that commercial tells you, Mario, why can't Sonic be a nice boy like that Mario?
Yes, and that gets on. Oh, what's up?
I'll never forget Bubsy because that game had like 100 fucking levels, and I got to level 100 in the very
what
first
could
level.
possibly go wrong?
He had some shitty like ass quip.
I know a lot of those.
The very last level, he just turns the screen. He's like, "Are you still playing this thing?" And I'm like, "You little fucking piece of shit! I've collected 4 million balls of yarn for you."
Isn't they give your parents like buy me Bubsy? No,
but
they bought me other games. But they knew not to buy me Bubsy.
Go to your room.
Bubsy was my single greatest lapse of judgment.
Oh yeah, me too.
I think I've told that story that I traded in fucking Contra 3 and Turtles in Time and something else that I loved. But I was like, I'm done with this. I'm never going to play it again.
My childhood stuffed animal.
And, I got fucking Bubsy and Battletoads and Battlemaniacs and have never regretted a trade more.
Battlemaniacs
I have never made a straight trade with a game store since. Not that most of them allow that now.
Battlemaniacs?
Battlemaniacs is good.
That was good, but it wasn't Contra 3 or Ninja Turtles.
It's not Contra 3, that's for sure.
Battletoads Double Dragon.
I like it.
Fart noise.
It's a fart noise for you, but it's a correct for me. Fucking, you're saying too many games, and it's making me spiral into a Super Nintendo world.
Attitude.
I got yes. Meanwhile, in the attitude, but
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Anyway, Bubsy. Since you mentioned this shit, I also equally, it was like, I'm going to the store, I'm going to get Lost Vikings. I've been playing at a friend's house, I love it so much. I get there, I see Bubsy, and I'm like, dude, a talking cat. I remember that on the cover of EGM. I gotta get this instead. And then I'm like, I have been had.
Well, for me, the appeal was, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog, but on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I never really felt like I was being violated. Like, I played through it and I was like, this isn't very good, but I'm a fucking idiot who's 11.
I didn't feel
It had that wonderful
I did not have that feeling at all.
Yeah, I rented it.
Barbershop Quartet?
I rented that, and I
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, I rented that, and I rented like Arrow the Acrobat just because
That's not
bad either.
That's not
Yeah,
terrible.
it's not bad
It's not
either.
terrible.
There is a plethora of shitlord dead mascots
Oh,
that
yeah,
had mediocre platforms.
But they all had attitude, which brings me back to the original point. That Sega really, the moment they saw that Sonic having, not attitude, but he literally displayed any emotion at
Impatience.
all, and it happened to be impatience, Sega of America interpreted that as we have to be balls to the wall attitude all the time.
we have to make Poochie the rapping dog like a fucking joke. We're going to one-up this asshole unironically.
Like years before he's even around, we're going to one-up Poochie the rapping dog.
Well, to
The
be fair,
cover
that,
for
that
Road
led to
Rash.
some really good commercials, like the.
Hang on, man. Hang on. You're jumping ahead.
All right.
You're jumping ahead.
Well, when you think of like Sonic showing impatience and just acting in his face, like even in Super Mario World, like Mario just kind of has a blank stare.
Well, yeah, he's a video game character, so that's fine. But so Sega, once, like right when they got Sonic, that kicked off this whole very famous which whoa, mind if I? Wow, it's almost all turned down anyway.
16-bit arcade
So-
graphics.
So they literally had commercials, like no one had really done that before in video games, at least. Just directly said, the competitor is boring, we are cool, they are not, and just being really,
Well, and naming the competitor.
yeah.
16-bit sports action.
So the whole notion of Genesis does what Nintendo became this ongoing phrase that, let me get the big one here.
Free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free. What Nintendo? Buy a 16-bit
Sorry,
What were some of the celebrities' names? Buster Douglas?
Well, yeah,
Buster Douglas, Pat Riley.
Pat Riley!
I wanted to mention that Buster Douglas and Pat Riley shows they just they also had Tommy Lasorda, and it's
Yeah.
no, you dumb, they all got before the A-level guys came in, like John Madden or whatever, they got Tommy Lasorda and Buster Douglas was technically the world champ at that time and had beaten Tyson, but was nowhere near as interesting as Tyson or anything. Buster Douglas is
Madden got lucky on the strength of his games.
Yeah.
Madden means nothing. My favorite bad boxer, Tommy Lasorda.
He looks so horrible.
It really does look bad.
But then
it looks like a picture you delete of your friend.
Was it Buster Douglas that had the ad campaign that was no childish characters? It's time to grow up, and it's it's not fucking Street Fighter. Street Fighter's for babies. This is about boxers, and it's realistic.
Well, they later had Evander Holyfield, which was better than Buster Douglas, but that's still not Tyson. But Tyson was kind of on ever since he got beat up in Japan and lost his title to Buster Douglas. He was a shadow of his former self.
May I posit a question? There is a boxing game that I can't remember where you can box in the MGM Grand, and when you get knocked out, you can get knocked out of the ring and eaten by lions that are sitting on pedestals.
Whoa. Nah, I don't recall that.
You sure that's not a dream you had?
Well, maybe.
It's not the only other boxing game I played was George Foreman's KO Boxing. KO Boxing. It really stepped on the gas.
It's like Mondu's Fight Palace or something.
That sounds
Tongue of the Fat
close. Yeah. I gotta say though, that's the advertising. What Genesis did was the advertising equivalent of a white trash guy just pulling his shirt off and then just "Come on, dude, this is it.
We gotta go. We gotta settle this. One of us gotta die." So that then led So then the Super Nintendo comes out, and Nintendo's advertising is very, "Ooh, Mario's back, and he's super cool, and look at all this cool stuff you can do." They really advertised the games, and there was no attitude at all. It was just, this is going to be so fun, and it literally sold off the backs of fun, and everyone agreed, yes, this was fun, and it sold great. Sega persisted. This is 2 years later, 93. They're still maintaining the attitude thing. This is the Sega CD, where the commercial is literally a guy on a TV yelling at a kid why he doesn't have a Sega CD.
Hey, you still don't have a Sega CD? What are you waiting for? Nintendo to make one?
Yeah, he says, "What are you waiting for? Nintendo to make one?" And this fucking 90s haired, singled out, having Chris Hardwick, what's his name? Just that haircut from the 90s that's just everyone has to have it in a flannel jacket. He giggles.
For Nintendo to make one? You have
Yeah, like Nintendo would. And so they persist on this, let's keep beating them up.
I've seen the game, right? Wrong answer, man. Show them.
So then
Night Trap, Sewer Shark,
Marky Mark.
Actually, you mentioned that. I'm curious. I haven't watched this.
In excess.
Oh, this looks terrible. Ground Zero, Texas. Really pixelated. Oh, that prize fighter game.
Yeah.
And then there's a helicopter. So basically, yes, they're still telling you you're stupid. If you don't play with Sega, you're dumb.
Still don't have a Sega CD?
Hey, before Marcus, there was this guy.
What are you waiting for? Nintendo to make one?
So,
what a bunch of losers.
I wonder if Miyamoto heard that and like winced, like, we do not have CD system.
We did not go mix system with no game.
And then whoops, us trying to make a CD system will result in our biggest competitor ever. Whoops.
Maybe Mario's overalls should be stonewashed to appeal to children.
Oh my god.
Maybe we should make a white knuckle scoring album.
You guys.
We have Rob Zombie do next soundtrack for us.
You guys.
To begin Pray It Route campaign.
That was too far.
Don't get ahead of yourself. Stop mentioning things that happened in the 90s. That all can be summarized in one word very, very efficiently.
Yep.
At the end of every commercial. Over and over.
For a decade. For 10 years.
For like, pretty damn close. And that sums up all of it. Like, attention span, nothing. Just keep going. So Nintendo, at long last, decides what are you doing?
I'm sorry. Maybe turn down my headphone volume or something.
I do not know which of these is that one. It's none of those. I know that. Is that too loud?
It's just like somebody screaming in my ear.
Well, this mic is particularly loud. I can say that.
Point of the commercial.
Yes.
That's all of them.
Michael.
I just want to hear Sega louder.
Okay, here you go.
Yes.
How's that?
That's beautiful.
You know, if I talk at a normal volume, it's really loud. This one's kind of blowing up.
Turn it down, bro.
I don't know how. Anyway, the Nintendo finally gets around to change its advertising campaign, and it's so much worse than anything Sega ever did because it's Nintendo trying to be cool, which is the saddest. Like, just shake your head in despair, and you will never get it. And the ads were so bad that's what inspired me. I'm going to start college, advertising major. I have to go to Nintendo. And like, I took a year of advertising. I paid money for school at university, not community college, university, to be an advertising major because these bothered me on such a profound level. And like, so that's where the Play It Loud campaign began, where that in itself, Play It Loud. Nintendo, please stop.
It's like, fuck you, Mom, I'm playing video games loud.
And that
I'm going to challenge my grandpa to an unironic skateboard battle in the half pipe.
Yes.
And of course he's going to be like, yeah, right. But then your grandpa one day just goes, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. And then he stomps everybody, and you're like, this isn't fun or cool. This is just stupid. So that all kicked off with, oh, God, all these... This commercial that kicked off the Play It Loud campaign starts with all these just text on the screen with phrases like "Give the world a wedgie," and then that's how they are hip and with it. Yeah, they are the
Japanese businessmen have their hands on the pulse of the 14-year-old in 1993.
They are the bee's knees, and children should be seen and heard. And
they're right there for children's rights.
And then they're underlining that it's for kids.
Yes. I'm going to yell at my parents so much harder for this new system.
And then at the end, it shows an old man shaking his head, and it's like, they can't hear you. And then it kicks off with this, and it's an old man just reciting things you can't do because, man, teachers are the worst. and then it leads into a Butthole Surfers song, which they licensed.
Wow.
Music, no skateboarding, no shouting, no gum chewing. Keep off the grass. Do not feed the animals. Have a nice day.
Oh, man. And then
that's pretty awesome.
And then here comes the kid to tell you how it is.
We want to do what we want to do. We want to have a good time. And that's what we're going to do.
Cue the Butthole Surfers. And this is happening all with quick cuts of popular games, which admittedly were all fucking great games that do not match this. It's Mario, Metroid, like
it's cut to the intro of Fight Club.
Well, they color it,
and it's got every MTV filter you hated from the '90s, like all going crazy. And it keeps going.
I like to think of that with Wanderers from Ease, like superimposed over like Butthole Surfers.
And so this was a popular song of the day. So now it's a great song. Now the entire this entire marketing campaign crumbled on the first commercial because in my heart of hearts at the time I was like, wow, this is it. Nintendo's really going to do this. They're not going to be seen as the lame console anymore. I'm tired of having to keep defending. Nintendo's not a kiddie console. Yeah, I know they took the blood out of Mortal Kombat. I know they even wanted to censor Street Fighter's like minute amount of blood, but no, man, they're turning around, and Mortal Kombat 2 has blood. Like they had just allowed like Mortal Kombat 2. Okay, yes, we will not censor this, and we will not impose anything on you. And then this happens. Do you know the chorus to this song? I wonder who was in my room last night. Who the hell? Who was in my room last night? Who the hell was in my room? Just hell.
Or bed.
Just the word hell. Or bed. I don't know which one it is. So it's building to that. And as a 14-year-old, I'm like, oh, please don't. I'm already thinking they're not going to censor hell, are they? They can't possibly believe it. They didn't just remove it. They bleeped the fucking word. They bleeped hell.
They wanted you to know there was a curse word there.
Yeah,
Nintendo,
maybe that's more.
That's right.
We're not afraid to use a bad word like hell.
They just put parental advisory stickers on all their games,
We curse
no matter
all the
what.
time when our parents aren't watching us. Yeah, all the time.
Yoshi's Island parental advisory sticker.
Well, it's funny to me, this commercial too, because I read the Game Over book about
it's a great
Nintendo's
book.
history. And it kind of just ends at the start of Super NES. Well, at least the original version. It gets updated by Andy Eddy, our good pal,
who works here now.
Yeah, but in the original version, just written by David Seth, it ends there, and like as Lieberman's campaign and against Mortal Kombat begins, Nintendo completely throws Sony under the bus, Sega under the bus. They're like, hey, we only make games for kids. They're the ones out to attack your children. We're all good together. We're a family company. We're family. And then within a year later, they're doing this. They just gave up on it. It's just.
It's because they were losing the lead bad, and Nintendo does not lose. Even when they're losing, they're not losing. I say that.
Yeah. So right now they're winning.
They cut $80 off the price of a system.
That humility that Iwata has shown with the 3DS is the only time ever.
Yeah.
The Virtual Boy didn't get marked down this fast.
Because
the Virtual Boy.
Well, that's also because Yamauchi was
he was
the
much
hardest.
He
looks like the hardest Japanese businessman archetype you've ever seen.
Yes, he really, really was. Back to topic.
I have no idea what we were talking about.
We were talking about
Bubsy?
Who the bleep was in my room, which drove me up the wall. So that bothered me. So then, just a few weeks later, Final Fantasy III comes out. Actually, probably around the same time.
AKA Final Fantasy VI, if you were born after 1996.
If you're going to be one of those
Excuse me, American foreigner. I have a correction to submit.
Actually, no, you don't, because in the U.S. it was Final Fantasy III, so deal with it.
It's funny, they still, I think because of legal reasons, or just because they couldn't alter the ROM, it's still Final Fantasy III on Virtual Console.
Well, they literally are what you played then, and they're not going to change that.
That would cost a lot
Unless
of money.
there were Kawasaki ads in Wave Race, then they will go in and take those Kawasaki ads out. And Wave Race
costs more money.
Wave Race 64, not brought to you by Kawasaki on the Virtual Console.
Could they not afford the licensing for Team Green?
Kawasaki was killed in 9/11.
Along with irony.
They were in Tower 2.
What's this next commercial now?
Now, the Final Fantasy III, which, again, what's the legacy of Final Fantasy III? Amazing RPG, maybe the best 2D Final Fantasy.
I was going to mention during your sound thing, but the opera sequence in that game.
The opera sequence, yes. The opera. Yes, one of the most, at that point in games, that was maybe one of the best moments in games, period, was that opera house scene. And, again, thanks to the Sony sound chip, but then the commercial advertising the game has to sit in with their advertising marketing because it's an exclusive game. It's a big release. It needs to contain the same message. Even though the Secret of Mana commercial a year earlier was this great, beautifully animated, showed the mana tree, showed the pink flamingos flying everywhere.
In America?
Yeah, it's a gorgeous commercial.
But this was before, Pokemon and Dragon Ball made anime okay.
Oh, well, yeah. This year, Final Fantasy III, the commercial, and it's hard to advertise a pre-7 Final Fantasy because they don't have those cutscenes. You can't go to that. Yeah. So it's hard, I agree. And if you look at the graphics, what's all these text boxes? Everything's, when do I get to play? So it's
just floating profile heads.
Yeah,
from the menu.
it's Mog the Moogle, who is a character in the game.
Oh, I do remember that.
And in the commercials, he's having tryouts for villains, but it's literally it's literally like a robot chicken. If you watch it now, it is a robot chicken bit done in 1994. Mog has that same mouth, the mouths that Robot Chicken do, where they just draw teeth and keep animating them. It's that, and his accent.
Okay, kid, show me what you got.
I'm filled with mage.
And he's like he needed a cigar, so this is him just like. He has an attitude. In the game, he's just Koopa! Like, he's, yay, Moogles!
Yeah, right. Next. Yes.
That sucks.
Next.
Like, he goes in a row. Just
I always imagine Moogles are what, like, Carolyn sees when she gets hit and flies out her head.
Saying, Koopa, Koopa, Koopa.
Yes.
It was better than the end campaign for Final Fantasy IV. Which I remember just being a giant magazine ad that says, Ogopogo lives, will you?
I remember that.
Oh, no, I remember...
No!
Yes.
I remember a worse one for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, which was, in the comic books, just a photo of a cow's face. And then it says,
I remember that.
Even the cows know something's wrong. Something's weird.
Something big
wrong.
is coming.
Something big is coming. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
The other ads were like Brain Lube $39.99, and they were like, "You want an easy game? This one's only $40, and it's Final Fantasy for all you jerks who don't know how to play games." So
Guaranteed to have a clerk swat it out of your hand.
It's Final Fantasy for babies.
it really, I like Mystic Quest.
Made in America.
Yes.
Called Final Fantasy USA in Japan.
So more Mog being just a needless fucking attitude added to a character that had no right having one.
Scary.
This goes on and on.
It just reminds me of that The Simpsons where they go to the Malibu Stacy factory and there's the two workers. Leroy, get your ass over here. There's a clock in the torso. Shoot. Shut your file.
Final Fantasy 3. Do you have what it takes?
Do you have what it's like? Shut the. Will you please advertise it on the back of like this engrossing tale that you're going to talk about for 20 years? No, it needs to just be next. Well,
they didn't.
Sega next. That's the 90s. That whole.
Yes, they didn't have any cool cutscenes to show off.
Oh, and then let's throw this in there.
The 90s made perfect sense until I learned how to master it. Like, but I don't know why everything.
Yeah, at the time
everything was geared like the sexually repressed because clearly not everyone was.
I think it's just maybe you were just paying attention to the things that were geared toward kids, and so as we grow up, we look back on it and it's like, man, everything was geared toward kids back then.
No, it wasn't that.
Like,
I remember,
today's kids are going to grow up and they're going to look back and say, man, what the fuck was up with Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez? Why was everyone so obsessed with them?
I did not have the enlightenment Brett is talking about these commercials. I'm like, that's a little overboard, but that's okay. But like, I was like, I'm reading other magazines. Like, I knew these games were coming. That's a weird way to market it. But like, why are you doing this? And I'm 12 years old, and I was a problem kid. Mm-hmm. Like, I was the bad.
I most certainly was
the loudmouth, talk back, braggy kid. And
thanks to the Sega ads.
No, not at all. I was like, that's fucking
they
sad.
Corrupted you.
You were one of the kids they were advertising too.
I don't know. I thought it was like slightly pandering. Like I just called it I called it Yo Yogi. Like it was
I remember. Oh man,
Yo Yogi.
That was one of NBC's last Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, I don't mean to make a cartoon reference, but that's what I called it with my friends. Like where,
boy.
Yeah, where they took the stupid Hanna-Barbera crew and put like flipped up hats and pink and light blue. And like
Tom and
these characters are so lame, and everybody
or Tom
knows
and Jerry kids.
Tom and Jerry. At least he just had a hat on, but the other guy's like, Yogi, where's Yogi Bear? And then he like fucking half pipes off. Like, god damn it! Like. I live by the beach and I skate, and like I hate all of this. I hate all of this.
Now you're reminding me of that stupid kid/baby trend, like Flintstones kids, the new Archies.
Yes.
God, what else?
Tom and Jerry kids.
Tom and
They
Jerry
gotta be
kids.
where the
I
action
mentioned
is.
that.
So-
Scooby-Doo kid. No, Pup Named Scooby-Doo.
Although
I think that might be more recent.
Scooby.
No,
that was
around the
late 80s, early 90s.
So this culminates in the Killer Instinct commercial.
Oh yeah, I
which
remember
is
this one.
1995, and it's literally like it's pieces of everything I've hated about everything I've played so far put into one commercial.
Holy. Same graphics. Same.
Blam!
It looks like the arcade, man.
It's a bunch of people. Wait, what? They have our buzzer.
Yeah, everybody does.
That's our buzzer. What?
I literally took it from the Mr. Show sketch.
I know
you gave
that
me.
they had
It
a
looks like the fucking arcade.
yes,
The fucking arcade.
yes. It's a commercial about how hard, like how amazing this conversion of Killer Instinct is from arcade.
Combat.
Well, and it's also kids 10 to 14. It's all boys 10 to 14.
It's all boys 10 to 14, and they're not blurring their mouths when they're censoring them, so you can see them not saying any cuss words. Like it's like this rings false on every level, and I'm 14, and I shouldn't be able to discern your bad advertising. I should be Killer Instinct. Yes,
You are a group of 100 adults advertising towards me. I should not be able to tell.
that's your
You are
advertising.
so bad at what you're doing that I'm like, no, this is fake.
And it keeps going, and it's just so.
16 bits. 16 bits.
And then the best one.
All he says.
It Killer Instincts.
On Super NES.
Isn't that Jago's theme playing in the background? That's from the Killer Cuts soundtrack.
Well, and the commercial.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it now. If I recall correctly, and I wasn't watching the commercial just now, that ends with them getting their mouths washed out with soap.
Yes.
And then they spit out soap.
That's one of them.
It has the Nintendo logo on the soap.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it really got sad until that video that Nintendo Power sent out, which I don't know if you were planning to include or not.
No, talk about that.
The,
'Cause I lost
the John
something
Lovitz
somehow.
video?
They sent out a lot of videos. And I have
but
them all.
The one
so.
that I'm thinking of was like
Did he?
Yeah.
right around when like Donkey
Did
Kong
he?
Country and Killer Instinct
Yeah, there you
had
go.
come out, and it was just had all these sad like gray cutaways to like these old people who were like these two old janitors.
Hosted by like Flan Cortez or
Yeah,
something
but
like that.
I just remember the janitors
It's a
were like
great
doing
reference
like
for
the worst
90s.
line ratings imaginable. Like, oh, I'm playing as Jago in Killer Instinct.
Oh,
now
yeah.
Jago sucks.
Yes.
And the old lady saying, I'm getting a tattoo of Luigi on my left butt cheek.
Oh, I remember that on my left.
that same inflection.
Yeah, on that left butt cheek, I remember that. And all that
Like,
shit.
you don't even know what you're saying, lady. What
No.
the fuck?
They made so many of those videos, and they were also like the Donkey Kong Country one, which I would love to do commentary of someday. Just watch it. And And that one was the right level of 90s. It's super 90s, but that one's acceptably 90s. When it gets into
Yes, because it cuts away with flashing like
Yes.
the Levi's Big Jeans font.
yes, the fucking
Collectible bananas.
the height of it for me, other than this fucking Killer Instinct commercial, even 2 years later, Jesus Christ, 2 years later, even they were still doing this kind of idea. And the videotape they sent to advertise Star Fox 64 is kind of famous, and it's been it's been linked around a lot at this point. But like watching it as a 16-year-old, just like they put these actors to act stupid and doofy in medium-sized shirts that don't fit them, like with their guts hanging out, like and the Sega.
You don't have glass processing.
So we heard you don't have. What's this? And then the Sega was, well, gosh, I don't know. What should we do, Sony? I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. And the Nintendo guy's like, I know you want me to tell you about the Rumble Pack, but I ain't gonna. You just did, Bit Boy.
Hey, I'm the TurboGrafx 16.
It's just
everybody should touch me and play me. That was literally the scene in the video.
Pee-wee.
Hey,
But
Pee-wee.
I've got the bladder house.
Bladder house and air thong.
Airthong.
Keith Courage and Alpha though.
Keith Courage and the Alphabet Hook. I forgot. Flip my mind.
Fox Adventure and Air Vonk.
Would anybody like to see a man bomb something? Well, we have Bomberman.
Included in the system. So,
JJ and Jeff, you can kick over garbage cans.
this is slowly turning into a Jewish mother.
Really? It started out as an effeminate person in the 90s.
I'm on Hollywood Squares.
Oh my god.
So at the end of the Killer Instinct commercial,
Gonna play Splatterhouse.
I'm the way I imagine Bruce Valanche talking.
Bruce Valanche. I don't know what to do. Play Keith Courage and the Alphas down to right for the Oscar.
even though I know he sounds nothing like that.
I don't know at all. I'm just trying to.
Where did this character
I'm just trying
turn
to say
into?
that's a gay guy without like saying it at all. Hey, I'm doing a gay guy.
Well, now you've outed the joke, so it's not funny.
So at the end of that Killer Instinct thing.
Sorry.
So at the end,
I'm sure I'm sorry.
Who is that? Bricklebear Cat?
I don't know.
What Hanna-Barbera is it like? What? It's a cat from Hanna-Barbera.
Are you thinking of Snagglepuss?
Snagglepuss.
Yeah.
Exit stage right.
But 6 even.
What?
I was so gay, but I couldn't tell anyone.
So, at the end of the Killer Instinct commercial, oh my god, they their slogan finally changed from "Play it loud" to
Kill your mom.
no, it would be. Wow, Michael's gonna. What if my mom's already?
Almost did a spit take.
All over the mic.
So they just had like 6 years of Play It Loud. And remember what were the Game Boys called when they relaunched the Game Boy and all those colors?
Mm-hmm.
They were the Play It Loud colors.
That's right.
With fucking red and yellow and yellow
And purple.
and rapey grape and bonkers blue. So at the end of that commercial, they finally changed.
Molestation mode.
Well, damn it! Fuck. All right, so
At the end of the commercial.
So they changed their slogan. This is 1995, so the PlayStation is literally 1 month away. The Saturn is already out. They're feeling the heat, and they know the N64 is still a year away. So their advertising slogan changes to...
So who needs a new system?
So who needs a new system? And to be fair, the Super NES was still doing very well in 95. It was even doing well in 96. That system had great games until the very end of its life. So, again, 1995.
System.
Who needs a new system?
I remember being saddened seeing Nintendo rise to the level of... Because, I don't know, what would you call that? Like, Sega was just kind of kicking at the shins of a giant for so long.
And it worked.
It sort of worked.
It worked. They almost
Star
won.
Fox commercial you talked about earlier was like, why go to the next level and light years beyond? Like, wow, did you subtly hit back?
Yeah, they
for
hit
the first time.
And this
years.
is the only time there's ever been such a tit for tat.
Yeah,
for two game companies,
and they're gone, and like it didn't matter because not that Nintendo knew that,
right?
Well, but
because Sega was doing very strong, but then they mismanaged everything about the Saturn and Dreamcast, and
it also
should have had Keith Code.
About that commercial, though, I thought it was weird at first when he said 16 bits over and over again. I was like, this is pretty old. Why are you telling me it's 16 bits? And I was like, oh, no, wait. Because they're saying this is 16 bits, but it looks like 32.
Yeah.
They were taking the route of Donkey Kong Country, the other rare game, of saying, no, this doesn't look like a 16-bit
Yeah, the bit was
game.
that Killer Instinct and Donkey Kong Country both looked so good that you wouldn't feel the immediate need to go get a new system.
And that did work for a lot of people who
however
bought millions of Donkey Kong Country.
Literally 1 year later, they launched the N64 that comes with Mario 64. And I felt like I was the only person in the world, because, like, believe me, I was going to buy I got an N64 on launch day with Mario 64 like everyone else did or really wanted to, because the game was amazing and blah, blah, blah.
So it did sell out.
It's like, yeah, there were shortages that whole Christmas and whatever.
Totally sold out.
But, like, literally 1 year after, so who needs a new system? And that was their ad campaign. Like, you don't need a new one, man. Super Nintendo's got all you need. Literally 1 year later. Change the system. Like 12 months, maybe even less.
That is the weirdest commercial I've ever seen, by the way.
The Mario 64?
Well, it's just with a guy who's like mocapped on a blue screen, like, doing everything Mario does in Mario 64.
It's a kid like on a blue screen going over Mario 64 graphics. And even
crazy.
Even listen to the shit he says about Mario 64, and they're superimposing him into the game footage.
He's next to Mario the whole time, swinging from nets, triple jumping.
All right, here we go. My favorite
Kill
one.
your parents. I liked the game, but the angle was so steady.
Kill your parents. My favorite one is just like it just reads like the commercial was done, and they're like, we need one more thing in here. Can you just talk about how, like, get across how awesome it is? And the kid's like, I'm a teen actor, man. I'm tired. I don't want to.
This place is really sweet.
This place is really sweet.
It is. What was he? Where was he at that point?
Bowser's being spun around by the tail.
Which, by the way, like there was no Andy Serkis at that point, so he wasn't born yet. So there was no one to mocap that scene.
Brought to you by Bad Religion.
Change the system.
Thank you, MXPX. I'll do whatever you say.
So that's pretty much it. But just that whole 90s era of ads was so terrible. And another like really egregious one was the Yoshi's Island ad, which Yoshi's Island, which you already talked about how great that game is, how beautiful it is, how rock solid it is, how timeless, it's fun forever.
Do you want to talk about it for a couple sentences, Hank?
I love it.
I love it quite a lot.
I want to talk about the Virtual Boy ads because we want to talk about weird, creepy ads.
Those were weird. And same thing in the 90s.
Post-Holocaust survivor being chased by a robotic Virtual Boy which wants to destroy his eyeballs.
Which he states that he wants to destroy.
It looks so dangerous. Yeah,
it will fuck you in the sockets.
I like.
Go spend $400 on it, or however the fuck much we're asking. Not even gonna check.
I've always liked what you say about Yoshi's Island. Whenever I pretend to knock it, like I don't love it.
What do you mean? I don't
know. It was like a.
Well, that it was what the last real 2D game, like the Mario team.
But it was, but it's like we don't. There's still things to do on a 2D plane, and we can make a game that looks like nothing else in the world.
Yeah,
simply because we tried.
No, you can still have that they were out to prove a point for Yoshi's Island, and I think they weren't really out to do that again. Like, and they'll never make a AAA 2D Mario again. Like, I guess sort of they did with New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
I saw a third dimension.
There's no such thing as a AAA title on the movie.
That's true. But yeah, no, they also did play with the third dimension. Like, one of my favorite levels of all time is the one where the giant chain chomps are in the background being shot at you. And
that's really cool.
And also,
if you look at the 2D platformers on other superior platforms like Mario or Mario, I hate calling it Mario World 2 because it isn't. Yoshi's Island is way better than anything on the TurboGrafx. It does so many unique things and looks astonishing to this day.
Something new like every level. Like,
but I hate it.
So yes, I'm sure you hate it.
But then all of that, the commercial is literally a fat dude eating until he explodes. And the bit is that it's crammed with so much cool stuff, and it's they got a guy to just be fat and cover himself in food and order more food.
Pay him to be fat, or because he was fat?
He gained 400 pounds for that.
But no, just like we need a fat guy to come in here and act all fat up in here. Like, it's just so disrespectful. Like, on so many levels.
Acting.
Yeah. I'm so heavy.
I call this sedentary.
Well, at least I've got.
And then he's literally like, and he's like, I can't take any more bites. And then he's like, well, maybe one more, and takes like a handful of whipped cream or something, and then
Nutter butters
bites it. Licks it off.
Not a wafer thin mint.
Yes, a wafer thin.
In the wastelands of America.
I'm guessing somebody has never seen.
I guess we're crossing references.
Mr. Creosote joke.
I was thinking we were talking about Heavy Rain.
No, I saw thin Monty Python meaning of life.
Yes. But anyway, I also.
So then he eats and then blows up. Like, he shoots his guts at the screen. It's like Yoshi's Island. Like, what? You guys are so fucking confused.
Well, because they were ashamed of being cute. They were ashamed of having. It's like colorful.
We need an edgy way to sell this. What does this Yoshi guy do? Like, he eats. Okay.
Henry, you were telling me something like in Japan, like they were taking great pride in the fact that, like, no, it doesn't. This looks hand drawn.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful. Well, there was a story that Miyamoto refuted eventually, but I still think is partially true. That, like, he wanted to make just a pretty straight sequel to Super Mario World, and then they said, well, look at these graphics in Donkey Kong Country, you need to do something like that. And then he said, well, fuck you guys, I'm going to make it really kiddie and really colorful and crayon color everything.
Yes.
Like, and then they're like, that's beautiful. We get like it was meant as a fuck you, and then they're like, that is great, do that. But then later in an interview last year about Donkey Kong Country Returns, Miyamoto said, I just want to make something clear. I worked closely with the Rare team on making Donkey Kong Country, and I take pride in it. I don't hate it. Sorry.
I would like to say that it would be nice if we could get like a trailer for like My Neighbor Totoro and put like a brown filter on it with lots of like lens flares. And just, like,
I was just trying to point out what I've heard from the stories you've relayed and what I've read, that Yoshi's Island is kind of a defiant move by the Super
Yeah,
Nintendo.
I still think it was a defiant move. It was definitely
not against Donkey Kong Country, but it is a defiant move.
It was defiant against
you think you want.
Yeah.
You think you want Sewer Shark, but what you really want is these.
No,
these
even by that
hand-colored-
time, by the time Yoshi's Island came out, all that FMV Sega CD shit was already tits up.
Well, also-
it was already dead, and they put so much effort behind it. Like, you really want postage
Shit
size
shark.
You really want fucking postage size like not even joking, like thumbnail images of
Space Mutiny
of FM
with
of
gameplay.
full motion video that only has 64 colors to work with, so it already looks like ass on top of an ass with a messy shit all over it. That's what it looks like.
Well, it's incomprehensible now, but you really have to look at the context.
Yeah.
Where you're coming from, like
Yes, to understand all that shit.
Just try to imagine what we put up with beforehand for this to seem impressive.
That's true.
It's like, there's real people in my video game.
Yeah.
Night Trap.
All right, I'm done.
All right. Well, should we talk about new releases?
Yes.
Why not? We're not going to do 2 podcasts anymore. So.
What? This is news no more.
Pack specials, but
Kaboom.
wiggity. That's just never happening again.
We'll have a PAX special, which I
roll.
believe we're recording a podcast this Saturday at the 11 to 3 thing at PAX. So if you want to be on a podcast, walk up and pretend to be involved, and you'll totally get on a podcast.
Well, let me get mine out of the way real quick. It's
Boo.
Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked.
Henry?
No, let me just say real quick that it is for the 3DS doesn't really have any strategy RPGs or a game is as long and as deep as this game. I still love it. It's still it was a great game on the DS. It's still a great game now, and you probably didn't play it on the DS.
Oh boy!
Admittedly, it has almost no 3D whatsoever.
Well,
in it.
that's
It didn't
almost
take
a
advantage.
plus at this point.
Also, slight negative was that since they couldn't do 3D, they gave it almost full voice acting, but English voice dub. And it's not a bad dub as dubs go.
Is it all Leonardo?
No, though there is, I swear one of the guys is Shinji from Evangelion from 90s. Yes.
What am I fighting for?
The voice acting isn't that bad, but seeing as how the game takes place in Shibuya, like all over Tokyo, and that it's so Japanese, like maybe give us Japanese voices instead. Like I'm sure they couldn't fit them both on the same cards.
Like the only people playing that game are hardcore weeaboos. So
Yeah, exactly.
each other around. They want Japanese voices. They want Japanese language.
Exactly.
Don't even put the English dubs on it. Just
But you did send me some of the music, and I stand by that 100%.
No, it's got great music. SMT games are always great, and the one thing if you actually did play it before. The bonus is that when you beat it, you unlock the 8th day, which is a whole new basically a few hours of content that wraps up some.
I really like it when things are described as content. That really gets me excited to play it. It's like additional content. Delicious.
There are things in this game.
What happened? Downloadable content. That acronym is fucking terrible.
I'm building up to it
Is that
slowly.
Cloud?
So I just
No, this isn't happening. There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Wow, I love it. I forgot about that. How he goes in total fucking the frog mode. Why am I still doing this? There is a snake in my diaphragm.
Maybe it's not exactly worth $40 to some people. but I think-
$40? You said nothing about that. I
Fort
wouldn't let you
Worth,
talk about it.
$40?
I know.
$40?
Yeah, it's
Get the
three.
fuck out of
yeah,
here.
Phony doctors.
really,
Get outta here.
it's less than $1 per hour of content.
Don't care. I played those. I don't particularly like those games. I think they're really boring.
It's
I
a
don't
strategy
particularly
RPG.
like games that I have to spend 40 hours on. Actually.
Or $40.
But
That's true.
But imagine you ride the BART for 40 hours every month.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine, and I just think about driving.
Yeah, Michael, just think about his car. It's all paid off. Hank. What do you
Those
think about
fucking
that?
protesters, man. I'm sure they have a point and stuff, but they cost me a half hour of my life, and so that's way more important than whatever point they're trying to make about violence or something.
You heard that? You heard Henry right. He sides with Anonymous in this whole situation.
Yep. I never had to set foot in a BART station, so I am firmly on their side.
I'll take a fucking helicopter before I set foot in a BART.
Oh, Henry, can you believe he said that to you? Henry, do you have a comeback to Michael's flagrant?
Well,
I got it.
I wouldn't overclock my love for Yo Mama.
Oh, I am devastated.
Oh!
Since we're in the 90s. Like,
It's
that
funny.
really would have sent you home back.
It's funny you whispered into my ear.
You'll be able to hear. Say your
Sorry, I really just wanted to smell your hair.
Yeah, I'm going to smell great right now.
So what else came out this week? Mike Grimm, anything but DS, 3DS related games.
There was Third Strike Online for XP on PSN.
All right, Jazz Cat. I heard you before we walked in here.
Is that the
bragging
other
about
Hanna-Barbera
how
character?
you brought down the average.
Yes, well, no, I didn't say that. But yeah, I gave it an 8. It's good. It's a really it's a passionate adaptation of a game that's beloved by the fighting game community. It's a really great fighting game, but I mean, as a baby retard who got reintroduced to the genre through 4, like most people, I do enjoy goofy ultra attacks that do 50% damage and relaxed inputs that make it easy for me to drunkenly mash on my joystick at night and have it be fun.
Yeah.
And Third Strike takes it to the level of 1997 and 99, which is you can't do that.
Well, they took things very seriously with Street Fighter 3.
Yeah, the thing was that they intentionally moved away from 2. Like,
Yeah, they did.
There was Ken, Ryu, and Chun-Li, and then Chun-Li wasn't even around
Chun-Li
until Third
wasn't,
Strike, which is like
she was an addition later.
Yes.
They didn't even want to put Ken and Ryu in there at first.
Yeah, and
It
they
was
were
gonna
like
be all about Alex.
They were talked into it.
You're
Akuma's
gonna
in it,
like.
too.
You're gonna like Alex, or we demand it.
And they were really weird. Like Necro and 12 are really weird.
And
then
Oro
Q
as well.
And Oro, it's like what? And it's a really strange game, and the gameplay is way more difficult. It's way harder. There's lots more shit for you to figure out how to do. And
But it's got such amazing graphics.
no, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The music is amazing. It's a
Isn't-
beautiful
Isn't
game.
Alex basically like if Guile and Zangief had a baby? I think that's his backstory, actually.
Really? Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Yeah, that's
All right,
canon.
sure.
That's Capcom canon. But no, I mean, it's a fun game, but I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really difficult because there are people that have played this game for 14 years now.
And are beyond experts at
And
it.
are...
And will be there online
The people
day
that
one.
made this game from Capcom are...
Yeah.
insano diehard. Like Derek Neal he was an Evo and he placed like top 3 in this game for many years and is extremely great. And his passion shows. Like the UI and stuff is geniusly done. Like button checks super fast. Like doing matches and everything.
I really
super
like how they
streamlined.
economize the sidebars if you want to maintain the classic aspect.
Yeah,
of your shit.
yeah.
But like this game is also kind of why Street Fighter 4 was so regressive, was in response to 3 going so far out there, and and also like they even fucked with their timeline. They're like, no, this is 10 years after 2, and that's why 4 technically is between
Several of the
2 and
4
3.
characters are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
I don't know.
They just say it it takes place between 2 and 3. Nobody cares. And 3, it's funny to me thinking about this now because the idea was, oh man, Capcom dragged their feet for so long bringing Street Fighter 3 out that by the time it showed up, people were burnt out on fighting games and the arcades were dying.
It showed up at the worst possible
time. And also they made it super technical and
my God.
ultra precise inputs. Like it was not forgiving at all.
Street Fighter is like Star Trek, only the evens are good.
I think we're saying that Star
It'll
Trek-
be another 20 years until I can really test that theory.
Yeah.
I think we're saying Street Fighter 3 is really good though.
It is a very good game, but it's
the
like
search for Spock.
there you go.
There you
Which
go.
is the best even.
It has Christopher Lloyd in it. It's
Christopher Lloyd is in Third Strike. His voice is
I
Necro.
thought you were saying like only the series, the even ones are good. Like, well, the first one was shit, and then Next Generation was good, and then Deep Space Nine was shit, and Voyager was awesome.
a little slow, and the second one really picked it up with Ricardo Montalban. I'm talking about Street Fighter.
Yeah. And I really loved Street Fighter 6: The Undiscovered Country.
Is that the subtitle for EA?
Oh man, does that mean
when we
Street
get
Fighter
Street Fighter
5 is going to be a lame bullshit about fighting God, or did they kind of already do that in 3?
I'm just imagining myself when
that's
Street Fighter
definitely
6
true.
comes out
Yeah.
talking to my, tell me about the combos. Tell me. Oh.
Can you still do crouching medium kick into fireball?
Is good.
Yeah, when are they going to make...
I think my favorite line from my whole thing, though, is just talking about how, if you replace some bison with a anime Fabio and a banana hammock.
Now, since
Yeah.
we're
Alienate
talking,
some fans.
talking about Alien Fabio and a banana hammock, can you explain to me exactly how Gil is a bad guy?
No, I have no idea.
Because there's nothing overtly villainous about him. He's just he seems to want to just lead people into some sort of promised land.
Well, his dignity will scar your DNA, which
Yeah,
sounds
there's that.
that sounds pretty aggressive, and I don't like it. And
Well, does that...
I mean, he's going to write in my cum?
yes, he's gonna write
With
his
his
name.
dignity.
Better not.
Well, doesn't he also reminds me of like Seth a little, like just his design of being like nearly nude,
yeah, curly hair,
always wearing
Whatever.
that thong.
Well, aren't Seth and Gil supposed to be like some sort of biblical duo or something?
Well, I mean, Seth was done that. Like, yeah, they wanted Abel to be. No, they wanted him to be Abel, and then Seth was. Oh my God!
What was that?
Yikes!
Oh my God! That was his butt.
Open that door.
It was
Jesus.
not. That
my
fart
butt.
came with a prize.
That was not a sound effect.
So maybe we should move on to the biggest release.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but it's good. I swear it's good.
I think I just did.
We were trying to find a way to maybe play Third Strike online before I leave, like to play on the stream, to live stream it, or just play with readers or something. And I would like to. I'm
playing it all the time.
I'm garbage. Yeah, I know. I'm probably obligated to get better at it, considering I'm not good at all. But like you said, like the inputs are so demanding. It's a super critical game, and it's not like 4 or Super 4 even, where you can come in and kind of. I mean,
you could maybe cheat one out of someone that's better than you.
Yeah. You can. Yeah, there are ways to get around someone who's extremely good. Like it's a little bit better balanced. But 3's like, no, if you're not good, you're going to get destroyed. Period.
Yeah, right.
So
And
Third Strike doesn't make
great
a difference to them?
Huh?
Like, a Third Strike, I assume, was like, well, third time's a charm. We balance some stuff.
Well, yeah. Well,
No,
Third Strike added Chun-Li and Akuma as a playable character.
Like within itself, it's a very tightly made game, but it's designed such that a newcomer will have a very hard time.
It's very skill based.
If
you're good, you're gonna fucking win.
Yes,
Yeah,
which is good if you have the time to put in. But like if 4 was harkening back to 2, where the inputs were a little bit more relaxed. You can basically spam a 720 and probably get Zangief's Ultra to come out without actually hitting 720.
And 2 is way simpler. It's like, anyway,
the focus attack is even just like a very pared down parry. Like
it's a passionate project that really captures the game.
Yes.
but it's difficult. But if you're okay with that, you'll love it.
There's a user score. The user score on Metacritic is a 2.4.
That's because some shitlord put a 0 there because he's an asswipe.
Yes,
I read it
yes.
earlier.
He says, "Oh, here comes Capcom again with another 2 words version of the Street Fighter franchise. These guys really know how to milk a cow, kill it, open it up, and still drain it out of every drop of milk, blood, water, whatever. Shameful display."
Yeah,
and it's like, well, really?
They're really taking it to Japanese Activision.
I bet that's a guy who was like Japanese Activision.
That's what I've seen.
I bet that's a guy who played Street Fighter 4 and compared it to his memories of Street Fighter 2 and was like, this is just the same game but in 3D, and then wrote the review for The Onion.
I was God, I remember being like, I don't remember
I remember where I was.
I was in Japan with Capcom, and the review came
How
out.
fortuitous!
Yes, this was 2 years. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I was seeing Lost Planet 2.
The game you love.
Still feel bad.
Which would grow up to be a great game, everybody.
And one that advertised so well on our site.
Oh, yes, the best ad we ever did see. Anyway.
That was such a shitty ad.
I don't know why. I really wish I was dead right now. I don't know what you guys started talking about.
Remember the horrible
we were gonna move
pop-up
on.
ad of
Oh my
Planet
god,
2?
I do.
Yeah.
I knew it evoked something.
The Lost Planet 2 ad.
Also, a great example of how Japanese developers have literally no idea how to do an achievement. That game has some of the worst.
Pretty much
we were
all.
talking about the Earth Defense Force achievements. The first game has 5 achievements.
Yes, 5 achievements for 1,000 points. Get every weapon. Beat the game on insane difficulty. That's it.
And
do both those
second
things.
one is even worse. So it's just like kill the boss 10,000 times. How many points? How many? Listen. 10. Like 10.
Jesus. So, but the big game ad this week that's got everybody talking.
Speaking of 10.
Days X. Human Revolution.
It's your first 10, isn't it?
I bought it today based off of your recommendation.
I have never given anything a 10. Ever.
Well, what's another game you would give it 10? Retro.
Earthbound.
Fair enough.
Would you give Chrono Trigger a 10?
No.
Really?
I thought it was good. I liked it.
I don't know if I would have given it a 10, but I did agree with your reasoning, and I did really like it when I played it.
Yeah.
Would you give Street Fighter 4 a 10?
I didn't review that.
If you had reviewed it?
I have a really hard time reviewing fighting games. It's
difficult.
impossible. It's really impossible.
Because you won't know till almost months after.
2 years later, it was broken the whole time.
Yeah, like
I had
that-
no idea.
That sounds ridiculous, but it really does take a long time.
But see, you will actually put that amount of thought into it, whereas I'm like, it's fun to bang the buttons.
Well, especially when it came up time to review MVC3, I'm like, no, I do not want to. Because I do not want to have any stamp on that fucking game about a review, because it's like, look, Street Fighter's hard enough to review. Any one-on-one fighting game. I reviewed Mortal Kombat, and I was like, God damn it, I don't like this shit's bothering me. But it could be a combination of I have trouble doing these inputs. I'm not as skillful as some people will be, and they will totally prove everything I say wrong about this review. Because if you're not good inherently at fighting games, you can't review them properly. Because somebody will come out and be like, yeah, you can totally do that. All these things you said were too hard to pull off there. Here's literally 12,000 people who are doing it with no effort. And it's like, it's hard to review. And then when you get something like a cross game, like when you review TVC, it's like, now you got to think about team dynamics and how each of these characters not just stands alone, but how they interact with all the other characters. And it's like, that's such a daunting task. It's like one of the hardest things to review. Anyway,
it's much easier when the game isn't that interactive to review it.
Yeah.
And then the story was great. It was awesome.
What's Deus Ex? What's so great about it?
The story was awesome. But no, I mean, I played the first game probably 6 or 7 times through. I really love it. I think it's a great game. But I mean, it does just a nice job where it's a little less linear than the original one is. But it feels like MGS. It has the same kind of conspiracy stuff, and it's stealthy cover play if you choose to do that. But you build your guy right, and you can make it more FPS-y, or you can be stealth, or you can be a combination of the both. And what's really cool about the game is that it rewards whatever path you choose. Like, it doesn't punish you for sneaking through air ducts and avoiding everyone. Like, you get special rewards for doing that, and you see stuff you wouldn't necessarily see otherwise. As opposed to if you take a Modern Warfare route where you just blast shit at everyone. Because when you do that, then you can just wander around the level and hack into computers and read people's emails and be a perp. And but that's really fun because the level of detail they put in everything it's ultra polished. Like, that game was not rushed in any way. That game was probably ready, I would say, a year or two ago. It is so tightly done and everything's put together. Everything has great writing, great polish, great detail. It's very fun.
So it's not a Fallout New Vegas situation.
No, not at all.
So how many?
Would you compare it to one of the Fallouts, the way it unfolds?
No, I get that idea, but it's more linear. There's no. I mean, there are city hubs that are fairly open and you can dick around and explore them, but there's really nothing it's not like Fallout where it's just go. Here you go.
More like Mass Effect than the solo FPS.
I see.
Yeah, definitely Mass Effect and MGS were the first sort of two things that came to mind.
So how many times did you play through it?
I beat it twice. I did once just sort of halfway, whatever, and then I just beat it doing a kill-free playthrough last night.
Wow. What is that? Just stealthing everything?
Stealthing everything, and then there's non-lethal weapons, there's a tranq rifle. There's a rocket launcher that's fucking non-lethal.
I think there's 2 different melee attacks also when you sneak up on people. One button will kill and the other will just knock them out.
Yeah. It's cool, too, because you can upgrade that so you can do 2 people at once, which is kind of fun. So he just, it goes the cutscene where he just grabs both their heads and, smashes their heads together.
So it's a Batman Returns from the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Sure. You all know what I'm talking about.
No, nobody knows what you're talking about.
Batman Returns.
There was no movie called Batman Returns. There was Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Right, I forgot.
It's just, I think the other thing too that really got me was that it's not afraid to be smart. It's pretty clever. It's well written. It's well done. They're tackling an idea that has 2 sides, and they show 2 sides to everything. Let you make up your own mind. They don't say this is clearly what you should be thinking, and it's fun.
Unlike Bioshock.
Yeah. I mean, there is basically the whole thing revolves around people getting robot parts implanted in them.
I can't wait for that shit. I hope I live for that.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Well, we were talking earlier today about the notion of a bionic arm. If you had an implanted arm that, say, I got a new left arm, and it could lift, it had hydraulics in it, such that I could pick up a car. And it's we were both discussing, yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that your spine and legs are still made of human bone and flesh, and
cannot support this thing.
And when you pick up that thing, that energy has to go somewhere. It has to balance on your fucking legs. You can't do that.
Yes.
So you would have to be completely replaced head to toe.
Yes.
With cybernetics, and I'm totally willing to do that. Cut me open, man. Put that new shit in.
So you want a Battle Angel cybernetic body then?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know if you ever saw that.
Is she the one with the hammer? She was the one with the rocket-powered hammer?
There was a guy in that with a rocket.
Okay, I know that guy.
Okay.
And she's a girl.
Yes.
She's an angel.
That he finds, and the guy with the rocket-powered hammer finds her in a trash heap.
And James Cameron wanted to make a movie out of it,
Yes,
right?
he did. And I don't think he ever did.
Never did.
One of the things I kind of like too is that the game doesn't have like lots of fucking HUD things where it's like, now go here, now do this. Like there's a couple things in the game, like there's no indication you can even do them, but then when you do them, a completely different thing happens, which is, and just that whole idea of like, oh wow, I can actually explore things and find things, and the game's not like, choose whether this man lives or dies, press A or B. It's like, no, you just have to do something slightly different, and a totally different outcome can happen. And the game adapts to your choices a bit too, which is fun.
Nice.
I quite enjoyed it.
That gets a check mark from Mike Grimm.
So go play that game. It's fun.
I bought it.
I think I'll buy it too. I think you might have convinced me.
Well, that's my job.
I mean,
Square Enix is paying me.
That's your job.
It's averaging an 89, and I mean, the lowest score is an 8. And I mean, there's a ton of 8s, but there are also 4 100s, like perfect scores. Well, not a perfect game, just means it's a perfect
I think
score.
you're saying that Michael thought it was perfect. So.
Yeah, and I responded to the comments with that too. That like a couple people were like, "Well, you have so many complaints, and yet you say this is a perfect game." And I was like, "No, 10's not perfect." Yeah. We wrote a whole article to that effect, like in 2007.
Yeah. One of my favorite reviews ever was this one that back in the old EGM days, Dan Shu reviewed Gears of War, and he gave it a 10. And all but the last paragraph was negative. Like, he said negative things about the whole time. And he's like, then why is this 10? Because it's fucking awesome. And
because it's fucking Metal Gear and I shove money up my ass.
No, that's right. I mean, he just made the point that Gears isn't... It was... The whole review was really to say 10s aren't perfect. And that's it.
Yeah, he's making a point.
Nice conceptual review.
He does a lot of things like that to make a point. He's made a lot of points.
I'm going to troll you fuckfaces. Yeah, eat it.
You thought you'd read this magazine of review?
Sega!
So anything else?
Sega!
I guess we should wrap this up. I don't think Chris is coming back.
And that's how we close out.
And...
Babality.
That says super nice to me.
So, yes, let's go. Chris decided to leave already, so... We'll see you at PAX. Make sure, again...
I won't.
Well, Michael, Chris, and Cheryl and I will see you at PAX, and Lizzie will be somewhere in the fucking area. And Tyler Wilde as well, actually.
Have fun, fart butts.
I will. I might fart on you before we leave.
Yeah.
Here we go, Henry. All right.
Oh, man, you totally farted on me.
I know. I can't believe I got that angle so
my
perfect.
God. And you stood up so quickly.
I'll do it again. Whoa.
Oh, my God.
Whoa. Yeah, Henry.
It's like watching a Tool video as somebody just... I'll show myself that.
So, Grimsley, so I got 2 of you guys.
Why don't we all walk away?
No, hang on. We'll see you at PAX. And, again, the Sega Party, seriously, like, we want to drink with you guys. We want to have a good time. It was awesome last year and at East.
Everybody say goodbye to Brett.
But, yeah, that'll be the last one. This is also probably the last normal cast that I'm not leaving on. So... Come on out.
Aww.
Come on out. We'll have a good time. We'll get some $5 footlongs and the back of the bus and all that.
We will have sort of a prize van.
We do actually sort of have a prize van this time, full of hats. So come on down to the Skyrim prize van, get your hats and turkey legs and dinosaur penises. Off we go to PAX.